Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today we have a video from Dymags 98 in the Tier 10 American cruiser, the Moines. And this should be a good one, and right away I noticed something. 3 of my OPG clanmates are on the other team in a division, but Dymags is in his own division, along with a Frederick de Grosse and a Midway. So that should be interesting. One of the things you'll always kind of notice, and is a good idea, if you are in a carrier, bring a good AA cruiser in your division. And you can see my OPG guys, they've done it too. You know, Midway, Des Moines as well. And the reason you do that is your carrier can pull planes back towards you, and you as that cruiser can really help erase some of the enemy planes. So I suspect that's something both carriers here will be trying to do. Now you can see right off the bat, Dymags has basically just sailed up to the edge of B. He's put himself behind the edge of land and is trying to set up here. And with the really high shell arcs of the Des Moines, this is a pretty good place to be. A friendly Ugamo raced into Bravo and, well, looks to be capturing it. It would be tough to say if he gets it, and he's right on the edge, not leaving himself too much room should he need to maneuver, but he always has smoke. And a pretty unassuming start. Now, most of the enemy team, you can already see, has gone to A. The large majority, which means Charlie is probably pretty open. Between this, Moskva had a Dymags himself and hopefully one other teammate. They should be able to lock it down, and then it'll be just a massive fight down south between A and B. And trap can be a little interesting in that way, in that one team always seems to get a pair of the caps pretty easily. And it's because another team all just goes one direction. Now you can see A4 on the enemy team just dropped a single torp squadron at that Z-23 who was camping still and took him out. And that is one of the reasons, as a destroyer at these high tiers, you really can't go racing off alone. Even if you think you've got good A, you don't. You really need to have your fleet close enough that you can fall back to them should you need that air support. Excuse me. Now, hopefully, Dymags' friendly carrier can do the same thing to this Qckslvrslash, and he does indeed a huge chunk of damage with those pair of dive bombers. One more good hit here should spell the end. You can see the whole team shooting at him. Dymags pops his radar, hoping to capture him. Doesn't get him, but finds a New Orleans just around the edge of land. And there's the Qckslvrslash. Come on, one good hit. That's all you need. Qckslvrslash going a little too slow, maneuvering. It's going to be some of the most annoying times to try to hit a destroyer when they're on low health or far enough away that your shells just don't get there quick enough. And there's the shell. Gets the kill, and now they really do need to secure this cap. You can see Dymags' teammate in the Frederick de Grosse getting worked over. He needs to get himself behind some solid cover and recoup the health. And that is one of the big mistakes I see high tier battleships make. Battleships of all tier just don't manage to go through all those damage controls, and you're leaving health on the board. But from where his buddy Red Russian is going, it looks like he knows that he's getting himself the distance he needs to recuperate some of that health and really keep himself in the battle for the maximum period of time. Meanwhile, Dymags is working this Yamato over, and he's kind of sitting in the open. I thought perhaps he was far enough behind this island he wasn't really spotted, but just seems nobody cares. Gets the fire, the Yamato puts it out right away, and now you're desperate for just that one more fire, because now it will stick. And a couple more shells hit, but it doesn't look like he gets it. And wow, Red Russian just sneaks away with a few thousand health. I'm also going to say sorry for the noise that's been in my videos the last bit. My desk was making a small kind of popping noise when I lifted my elbow off of it. It should be fixed now, so if you hear that, do remind me and I'll keep trying to figure out what it is. Now this game's kind of at an interesting point. The teams are pretty even. There's no massive discrepancy. Yet, Dimeg's team has a pair of caps, and that can be huge. You can see the entirety of the enemy team is down south, but almost all of Dimeg's team has formed a line about the same distance away. So that should mean no one's getting super focused down. And the same is true for the enemy team, which puts us into kind of those interesting spots. You can see how quickly a Des Moines can get rid of those aircraft, and he pops the defensive AA right at the end there, and I kind of think popping that was a mistake. The planes were already turning away. Save it for when a drop is actually coming at you, not just when a plane is kind of in range, because good high-tier carrier captains will actually bait with aircraft to get you to use defensive AA, and then, you know, duck out, wait the 30 seconds, and then come back and absolutely end you. Like Dimeg's is probably going to do to this Edinburgh. The guy popped smoke thinking he'd be safe, and just not the case. Couple more citadels spell that Edinburgh's end and secure the cap. Now things are truly even shipwise, and Dimeg's team's up almost 100 points, or was, until they lost their Bismarck. But this spot here is almost perfect. You can see that island is low enough that Dimeg's can shoot over it. The only thing ruining it is all these ships to the south would have shots, so they're going to be a focus. The enemy Des Moines is, I'd say, target number one here. A, he's a little exposed, and B, look at that group of cruisers, and I think a Yamato to the south, kind of, sorry, Yugamo. I just saw the Y and said Yamato. And I'm pushing in, and it's forced slap to stop and just start backing up to try to create space. And Dimeg's has some pretty good side shots, is working him down. There's a couple fires going. He's gonna be dead. Meanwhile, you can see some Yamato shells coming his way, but they're actually at his buddy Red Russian, who gets taken out. And almost a noble sacrifice. Red Russian ate the shells, so Dimeg's didn't have to. The enemy Des Moines goes down, and one of his teammates is the one who gets the kill. A little unfortunate there. Slap was already on 2 kills, not Slap, Dimeg's was already on 2 kills, and had a couple fires going there. Speaking of a couple fires, he lights them and they go out. Well, the Yamato sinks into the ocean, putting them out. So we're halfway through this game, and not a bad start. 2 kills, 66,000 damage, and I would say Dimeg's has been instrumental in kind of defending this B cap. He got in there, took out that Edinburgh, and really helped work some of the enemy team down. And one of the things I kind of see happening to the enemy team is they're losing a lot of those supporting ships. You know, they're 1 cruiser, 1 destroyer, and then a whole ton of battleships. And that can be a really tough place to be. Coordinated, a group of battleships is almost the ideal. But when your attack isn't coordinated, the extra hit points and just tankiness you bring doesn't mean as much. And you really do want those quick-moving cruisers, the high rate of fire, and destroyers to help you. So when you've lost all those ships, it can put you behind. And a good case in point is Dymags here just working this Iowa over. You know, getting a couple thousand damage a volley. The Des Moines has a great rate of fire, and he's getting the fires. And you can see he just lit one, so he actually switches to the Bismarck there. Interesting that the target doesn't move over. But I would be right back at the Iowa now, and I suspect he will be any moment. There's the fire. And now he's back to the Iowa. So you can see him using that technique of switching up targets, just getting the one fire, really letting the enemy ships kind of waste that damage control before lighting things back up. Now he does have to be careful. Backwards logic there in the Moskva and the Iowa right off his bow, and well, there go the front guns. So he instantly repairs that because you really can't afford to wait, especially when you've got a side on battleship. Cruisers can really rip apart battleships in these situations. And this is pretty much the perfect angle. He's a little over angled now, but you can see his rudder is corrected. You don't want to be perfectly straight in. You want a bit of angle there, and that is really how you keep yourself alive against a battleship. Now, yeah, I was doing some big damage to Dymags, but when you look at how often Dymags is getting to fire and the damage he's putting back the other direction, you can understand how useful cruisers can be if a battleship gets in close and is giving you his side like that. And there is a big shot Dymags eats, and he loses one of his front turrets, although I think that was the previous volley. And this definitely hurts his rate of fire, and he's got no teammates around. He is in a bad situation here. He's up to 150,000 damage, staring down the barrels of an Iowa, and he is playing this smart. He's backing up because he's got to avoid the Iowa, but he also knew that he had targets to the north there he had to avoid, and he's keeping the island between him and them. And at this point, you think you'd want to consider the ram, but the issue with that is his team is down. It's 4 on 6. If he takes the ram, it's over. So what Dymags is actually doing here, I think he feinted the ram, hoping the Iowa would bite, and now he's going to just try to outrun the Iowa's guns. And looks like a bit of success, and then 3 citadels right into the bow. But at this point, Dymags really would have been safe. You get past those guns, you're past really any chance of him hitting you because he can't get those turrets around quick enough. And, well, here come the enemy bombers to finish him off. A couple seconds till he gets defensive AA. He's right on it. The bombers hit. They don't do the damage, and he already had the repair going. He gets out of it alive and eats up that entire squadron. And importantly here, he is defending B. Now, you'd like to stay in it, but he really can't afford to get that close to this Iowa that's astern of him. And he's in a decent position here to really help his teammates. But I also suspect he knows where that carrier is and really wants to put the pressure on it in that sense. It's up to 168,000 damage. Absolutely rips another air squadron apart because that defensive AA was still active. And if I were Dymags, I would be firing over my quarter. You're about to be spotted. No reason not to. And you can see he's got the guns not pointing that direction. He's looking ahead at the midway because the midway is now spotted. And this could be a big kill. The teams are very tight. I would like to see him reset that Iowa astern of him. You know, that ship is about to take a cap. You really don't want him to. He looks back there, more to look at these torpedo bombers. And they're getting eaten up. Ooh, some nice RNG there. Just one of them alive. Come on. Gets the last one and makes it out of there alive. And he's got his next repair party up and running. In the meantime, unfortunately, that enemy Iowa has taken Bravo Cap. And I would have liked to have seen just a little more situational awareness to just lob a shell or two over, try to get the reset, help the team. But things are super close on points, and he did have a lot of aircraft above him. I can't entirely blame him for not looking back, and you can see he had a plan in his mind. And he's running this midway down, and I suspect the other thing you'll see is the second he's past this edge of land, he's going to cut hard left. At least that's what I expect. And the reason you do that, get behind the hard cover and out of potential danger from that Iowa. And in his situation, it also allows him to get both guns onto target. More bombers coming in, and he's got defensive AA again, pops it. They come in, but both hit, lighting a fire, forcing the damage control, because with low health, you really can't afford to let yourself burn too long. And he's now safe from that Iowa. The Tashkent is still running him down, but he's locked a couple enemy ships up in his pursuit. He's got a Tashkent, Iowa, and then he's chasing the Midway, which means up north, you've got an Iowa and Midway to try and deal with an Alabama. And in a sense, that's perfect. He's helping his team by just drawing the attention of so many ships that really could have run some teammates down. And then to top it off, obviously here, he's getting to milk this Midway with some health. He had a fire going. Hopefully he can get another here. There it is. And now the question is, does A4 have whatever that skill's name is that allows you to launch planes when your decks are on fire? I don't believe he does, and that means Dimegs may now be safe from the air attack. Well, at least safe from any more. Another Torp squadron coming in. The friendly carrier strafes them, and Dimeg slams the brakes on, has the rudder hard over, gets the dodge in. Now he's just got to finish this Midway off to make sure no more come his way. That Tashkent just working him over, and unfortunately another fire, and that could spell disaster. But in the meantime, he's got the carrier, and now he should get the cap. You're obviously worried about torpedoes that the Tashkent could have launched before disappearing, and you just want to know what the enemy team's doing. So he pops his radar, he can see the Tashkent going south, the Iowa going north, and he's in a tricky position. I suspect that Alabama to the north is going to get taken out here, but Dimegs is going to be in the fight of his life. They have the point lead, so they don't really need the caps with only 1 minute left. Their point lead should be enough, assuming the Alabama gets taken out to the north and they start getting that one cap again. And looks almost like it was going to be a ram. But at this point, all Dimegs can do is wiggle his booty. 214,000 damage so far. A great game. And he's just got to survive 25 seconds. You can see he is watching those shells from the Tashkent most, but the Iowa's just about loaded. And he's running out of space. You wish these borders were infinite right now. But they're not. And he's only got to survive a couple more seconds. They got the Bama. This is gonna be a win. And, well, I may have been critical of Dimegs for not defending B at that one point, or at least just trying to lob a shell in. He had a great game. 680,000 credits, 7,600 experience, Dreadnought, high caliber, 214,000 damage, 4 kills, was so close to that 5th on the ship that was burning down and would have gotten the Kraken, and really anchored his team down. I think he made a number of smart plays that kept his team in this game, and the experience shows that 3,820
base experience. That is an amazing game, and definitely part of it is the 57 aircraft he shot down. A4 was sending everything he could at Dymegs to try to take him off that thing, and the Des Moines AA prevailed, ripping through those aircraft, really showing what the Des Moines is good at. And it is an AA boat. You've got to have those carriers there to really maximize this ship because it doesn't have the torpedoes or some of the stronger armor that the other cruisers have, but its guns are still effective. Dymegs getting some massive damage in, and you look at what he was hurting, a lot of it was, well, a good chunk was that Iowa that he ended up nose to nose, and I think Dymegs played that very well, showing what to do in a cruiser when you get that close. And ultimately his decision to get his speed up and try strafing that Iowa was the right call. He survived the hit, got 3 citadels in. Could it have gone the other way? Definitely, but it didn't. And walked away with almost 400,000 credits, 7,600 XP, 13,000 or more, I can't really read that, for the captain, and on a standard account. Those are some amazing numbers. He would have taken home almost 750,000 credits on a premium account. Thank you, Dymegs, very much for sending this one in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. Please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys later.